How are we doing, Kansas Jayhawks fans? This is your host, Nick Rondeau, bringing at you some Jayhawks Daily content, and it is the day. It is finally time. We are getting a blue blood matchup tonight. We're getting our first real taste, no offense, Green Bay and Doug Gottlieb, to some real college Kansas basketball action. I'm excited. This is the game we've all been looking for. It's Darren Peterson on the big stage. It's two stud blue blood matchups. This is a top 25 matchup to start the year. You know, that Arizona-Florida game gave us a little taste of what the real teams that are going to be really competing and battling in March are going to look like. And we've got one on ESPN at 7 p.m. tonight. So excited. I will say for the YouTube TV people out there, go to a bar, go to a restaurant, figure it out, get it on cable. You got to watch this game because it is going to be a good one. And I'm going to talk about it all, a little preview. I've been super excited to finally get a real great game like this to preview and, really look into the details. So let's get into it. And, speaking of this rivalry, and it's weird. It's a rivalry. They play so few times, but every single time they play, I swear it's a huge stage. And this stems back to one of the first times they played back in 1953 or 54. I can't remember, but they had a triple overtime game where the Tar Heels took down Wilt Chamberlain's Jayhawks 54 to 53 or something like that. I mean, it's stemming all the way back from there. There was a period of dominance where UNC, won most of their games for the next 40 years. And then we started back up, the 90s to the 2000s. So some of the Roy Williams for us era, some of the Bill Self over Roy Williams for us era. We are boasting that 5-game win streak over them, including, that banner right there, that 2022 championship, 15-point comeback at halftime, largest comeback in college basketball championship history. I could do a whole podcast just about that game, but we're getting into this game. It's about this team, and this rivalry really is something interesting. I mean, they're two blue bloods that they do rarely play, but it's always a crazy stage. I mean, do we not even remember Bill Self's first time in the Final Four was facing off UNC in that iconic score bug when Kansas was up 40-12 in the first half. And yes, UNC stormed back, but we put them to bed with a 20-point victory in the second half. But I mean, that's score bug. It's iconic, 40-12. You don't see something like that in a Final Four game, and that was Bill Self's first. And of course, you get Bill Self's second national championship. Shout out Roy Williams as well. Excellent coach, done great for both programs. He's definitely going to be at the game, obviously. This is so close to home, literally and figuratively. And, I mean, it's just going to be such a fun game. I haven't stopped smiling if you can't tell, but this is just going to be really, really fun to see how these two, honestly, top teams. I mean, these are the teams, if we remember over the past 3 years, that have had that number one preseason ranking curse. It started with UNC after that championship game. They returned pretty much all their players, four or five starters. They got the number one rank, and they didn't make the tournament. And, that was the first time it had happened, I think, almost ever or since the polling started. And then the year after that, Kansas gets the number one preseason rank. And they make the tournament, but it was a crash and burn. And the year after, preseason rank number one, crash and burn. We at least made the tournament both times, UNC. But, that's the thing. It really is. It's just this game means so much more to the people who really know about it because they call it blue blood for a reason. These are the dominant forces of college basketball squaring off, and we've got it in 2025, early on, second game of the season for each of us, and we're going right to it. We're going to what they're projecting. UNC's coming off a big game too. They played their Green Bay. There's a Central Arkansas. They won by a similar scoreline by about almost 40 points. And the thing with them, looking at, watching that game, really, understanding where that team's coming from, they are big. But they don't play big sometimes. It's odd. And I'll say it like this. So kind of just going through their starters, you can see it right there. 3 starters over 6'10", and I believe they'll probably keep the same starting lineup. We'll get into one of their players that recently gained eligibility soon, but I think they'll probably keep that starting lineup rocking. Maybe they'll try to go a little bit shorter by putting the guy I'll speak of next, but they're a talented team, and we're going to see a couple of familiar faces. So starting at the center, Henry Visar. We remember him from last year. He was dominated us in the conference tournament game. Very disappointing. Big 7-footer from Arizona. Very good post player, good passer, but not the quickest of feet. So, Flory hopefully can really handle that matchup. I'll get into how we match up. I'll just stick to them first, but I have to speak to it. It's impossible. It's an instinct. We have to deflect. We have to play defense, even on the podcast. But that he's going to set the tone. He's going to be a lot of veteran leadership for them. Dominant post player, really good moves, and he'll get a lot of rebounds. And sliding in right underneath him is going to be the top 10 prospect, the man who put up 22 points the other day in his debut as a freshman, Caleb Wilson, shooting 8 for 10 from the field. I mean, he looked amazing, and Bill even said it himself. He said, I was watching that game, obviously the highlights because we were playing, but he was like, I watched that game, and he had 12 points in the first 3 minutes, or they had 12 points in the first 3 minutes, and he already had 4 dunks. That's crazy. They were not protecting the rim clearly at Central Arkansas, but they were scoring quick, and he was scoring quick. It was easy for him. There was literally nothing in the paint to stop him. He's got a couple of great moves. He's a really dominant offensive player. He's going to be, probably a lottery type pick, I would assume, by this draft, but who knows? Long college basketball season, a lot can happen, but he's going to be a very difficult force to stop, especially at that 4. Not a perfect matchup for us, honestly, anywhere, but Caleb Wilson is one to watch out for a big night tonight. Another player that they're starting, I think they'll probably stick with him, is going to be Jaron Stevenson. And I previewed this game back a long time ago, saying this is one I marked down on my calendar as a big non-conference game for Kansas and just for fun to watch. And Jaron Stevenson he was a 2-year player at Bama, started a lot of games for them last year. He's their other 6'10" player, so those are the 3. And he just kind of does a little bit of everything. He's not a specialist. He's not a particularly great shooter. He shoots about 30%, I think, from 3. But that's pretty decent from a player of his size. But he's a 3 to 5 point per game kind of player. Was that at Alabama? In Alabama, it's a different system. We all know that. Layups and threes, layups and threes, layups and threes. So Hubert Davis doesn't do that. He likes a lot of high-low ball. He likes to, find open shooters. And it seems like even though they've got Visar a little bit of a slower big, it looks like they're running. Looks like they're going to be keeping the pace. And, I really wonder how we're going to pan out with that. I do like at least what I don't like is how we do all of our switches, and we will have a lot of mismatch given they have 3 starters over 6'10", but it keeps them, a little bit off their game. Everyone's really physical. I trust Melvin Counsell guarding anyone, but let's limit Melvin Counsell on Caleb Wilson encounters. Let's just do the best to do that. But yes, Jaron Stevenson's going to be another good player. He'll probably be one of the first guys out though, but he just adds great length. He's athletic, and it really works with their 2 guards. And their 2 guards are Seth Trimble and Keon Evans. And Seth Trimble is their longest tenured player on the roster right now. Hubert Davis loves him. This guy he's been always looking to take that next leap, I feel like, each of these last years. He hasn't quite offensively, but he's a great offensive player. I'm taking nothing away from that. It was freshman year, he was a defense guy. They'd sub him out offense, defense. Second year, they were expecting a big thing, and he was good, but his shooting still wasn't there. His offensive, dribble, drive, penetration, everything else was there, but his shooting wasn't quite there. And I think it might be, but still, he's a defense-first guy, I would say, incredibly athletic. He creates their offense because of his defense. Puts it on the transition. He's running past everyone, and this guy can jump out of the gym. He is incredibly athletic, very smart player, doesn't turn the ball over much. So we'll kind of see. And then Keon Evans, we talked about a while ago. We remember how he played at Colorado State in that tournament game. He had a couple of good years for them there. He was their guy, and it seems like he's kind of the guy for UNC. They're putting a lot of eggs in his basket of scoring. He's a great scorer. Why wouldn't you? He's great at penetrator, and also he shot 4 of 7 from 3 in that first game for UNC. He's a great three-point shooter. Melvin Counsell's going to have his hands full guarding Keon Evans. He's lightning quick, very smart with the ball again. Hubert Davis has got a lot of trust in these guys to, hold on to the ball, protect from turnovers. But I think they're honestly kind of going back to maybe not old school UNC, but it seems like they're going big for the offensive rebounding game. It seems like how many years do we see UNC with the likes of, Meeks and McAdoo just keep putting them off the glass and getting it back for themselves. This is what they did. And with this type of lineup, they're going to have a lot of success with that. And the last guy I got to call out, besides obviously, like I said, they had a very good transfer class. They were ranked like number 5, a very good recruiting class as well. But there's another piece they've got, and that's going to be Luka Bogavac. I'm not going to get that right, but he's a 22-year-old player, played in the ABA League, in the Euro League, and he was cleared 30 minutes before their tip-off for some eligibility issue that apparently nobody can ever explain, but it's just, there was an issue. But he's a 22-year-old player coming over from, playing overseas professionally, and now apparently he's got 2 years of eligibility or something along those lines. I don't know, but he's a good shooter. He's a really talented player. He's not, he's decent size, I think like 6'7", but he's a great player, real playmaker. He'll bring it in from the 3-point line, and he'll score from the mid range. Very talented, and I just think more than anything, with a guy like that who's had issues, with eligibility and not knowing if he can play, he's going to be excited. So I had to go deep dive for kind of this big matchup on this team, but he's definitely going to be coming off the bench first. He's going to be a big 3-point specialist for them, a big scoring specialist, and we've got our hands full. We definitely have our hands full. So how do we match up? I think you got to match height with height, and I think this may go against what Bill Self preaches, but maybe he messes with the starting lineup a little bit. He loves starting lineup consistency early in the season, but I think Cole Rosario's got us come off the bench. I think you've got to start Bryson Tiller at the 4. Bryson Tiller has played absolutely spectacular, above expectation, and this is exactly what us KU hoop fans, like, we are expecting a top player out of Bryson Tiller. Given what he was before his injury, he's showing us incredible potential. He's got the perfect frame, especially for a game like this. 6'10", 9'3", standing, reach. This is the player that we are, hoping can really excel. And next to Flory, we're going to have a lot of success offensively. You're going to keep them out defensively. Those guys are going to be 2 towers down there that are going to have their work cut out for them. And what I don't mind, honestly, in this scenario, by starting a big there, let maybe Flory take Caleb Wilson. I know it's maybe a little unorthodox to have the 4 on the 5 and the 5 on the 4, but I think Flory could just handle Caleb a little bit better. He seemed to have his way, and Caleb's very athletic. And not that Bryson Tiller isn't, because he's very athletic too, but Flory's just he's an incredibly good defender. He's one of my favorite defenders we've seen at KU in a long time. It really gives me a super athletic Azubuike, vibes. He's just such a good rim protector, block shots, and if not, he just affects them. It's gonna be hard to score in the paint on KU all year, but with Flory back there, but with Bryson Tiller right next to him, I really like that, and we don't really see the Twin Tower lineup working that well, in my opinion, with Paul and Bia. He's just too raw right now. So I think best case scenario is we play Bryson at the 4, Flory at the 5. Trey White spots down to that 3 spot. We still will be undersized as they start 3 6'10" guys, but 6'7" to 6'10" we're compared to Cole Rosario 6'5" to 6'10". It's just a bigger mismatch. I hope that's what we do. Bill's got his own plans. He knows exactly what he's doing because we know Melvin and Darren Peterson. Have I even said his name in this podcast? Let's get around there. Darren Peterson, because that's what we are expecting in this matchup. It's a whole lot of heavy Darren Peterson going down their throats. And I know they're going to be putting Seth Trimble on him because Keon Evans, no way he could handle him. Darren Peterson is one of the best scorers I've seen, and he's going to have a tough matchup. Like I said, Seth Trimble, defense first guy. But Darren Peterson yes, it's Doug Gottlieb. But yes, it's Doug Gottlieb. He even said after the game, this guy reminds me of Kobe Bryant. How many people have said this guy reminds me of Kobe? Anthony Edwards, Devin Booker, like these top NBA stars. And yes, that wasn't very big drop-off, decreasing order. But still, this is incredible to see the comparisons that this 18-year-old is getting. But we all see it with our eyes. How do you not see a guy who's so comfortable to pull up from 3, from NBA 3, may I say, on a dribble pull-up with 2 hands in his face? I will guarantee this. We will see a Darren Peterson 3 over a very large defender this game, maybe even 2. I'm going to see a late closeout by one of their 6'10s. I'm hoping it's Henry Visar, so it's a 7-footer, and you just see Darren Peterson drop one right over his head for a 3. What I really do hope is I think they're going to really have to help out a lot in our two-man game. They're going to have to pull their defenders in. We're going to have to hit some threes. And one thing I did notice early on, at least in the Central Arkansas game for them, is they let up a lot of three-point opportunities. And we're not a great three-point shooting team. We've got to be today. And so that kind of gets into what I really want to say, what our secret weapon is. I think it's Cole Rosario. And yes, you're like, wait, Nick, you just took him out of the starting lineup. How is he a secret weapon? He's got to be able to shoot some threes for us. He's got to be able to make some, and it's going to be hard. That's a tough environment. Chapel Hill, those rowdy fans, those kids, unbelievable. Going to be tough, especially for a first road, real game. Louisville, he got rattled clearly. Can he handle it in Chapel Hill? We need you to, because I know Trey White, he's got to step up. He will step up. He's more tenured. He's more understood. Melvin's going to step up in a huge way for us, but he's not a three-point shooter. Trey is a little bit more of a three-point shooter. Jaden Dawson has barely been cracking the lineups, really, and I haven't seen the three-point ball that really strikes me as, yes, he's going to go on a run. Cole Rosario seems like the guy to me with some of his looks. They're all missing, but they're missing by the same amount. And when he did have his make, it was clean. And I just think this is something that we're gonna see happen. We're gonna see Cole's gonna get the first one to fall, then the second. Maybe 3 threes out of Cole Rosario is my sneaky kind of prediction, what I think is needed, definitely needed for us to succeed in this game. I mean, it is very crazy to think that we're putting so much on freshmen heads. What are the names I've been saying most common? Bryson Tiller, freshman. Darren Peterson, freshman. Cole Rosario, freshman. I mean, they're young freshmen, too. These guys are 18. Bryson's a little older, but, I mean, it is crazy how we're putting so much on these guys. And, yeah, I'm expecting a big game out of Flory, but it's going to be tough. He's got Visar down there. He's dealt with him before. Hunter Dickinson was kind of dealing with the bulk of him last year, but now that it's all Flory and all Visar, that's not an easy matchup at all. He's just a big body. He's a pretty solid defender down there. He's not the best rim protector, but everyone knows that Flory's just got a quick left hook. If you can stop that left hook, then maybe we're in for some trouble. But I really think it's that two-man game. It's going to be interesting to see how Darren Peterson and Flory work. It's going to be interesting to see how UNC and Hubert Davis kind of defend that. It's going to be an interesting defensive strategy. Are they going to hedge really hard on Darren Peterson 3? They're definitely not playing drop coverage, but are they going to pull in another defender to help protect the paint? Because when they hedge, Flory's got part the Red Sea and he can finish it down low. That's what I'm really thinking is they hedge hard. Darren Peterson finds Flory. You got to find the man who helped out to cover him for a 3-ball. Probably Trey White's guy. And you got to hit that. Whether it's Bryson Tiller's guy, you got to hit that 3. And when I see that play happen, I will know if it goes in, we're going to have a chance in this game. And you need those to land early. You really do. I think it's going to take an entire team effort. It's going to take more than 20 points from Darren Peterson. That's most games. It's going to take at least 10 or 12 from Flory. It's going to take 10 or 12 from Bryson, 10 or 12 from Cole, 10 from Trey White. And Melvin, whatever you can give us on the offensive end, how many coast-to-coast can you do? I really just want you to shut down Keon Evans. You shut him down, you've done your job, because he's their biggest and most explosive kind of scorer. That's not Caleb Wilson, I would say. Yes, this Montenegrin Bogovac is going to be a great player for them, but I see us as matching up a little bit better, whereas Melvin Council, bark for my dog Melvin, because that's what they do in Allen Fieldhouse. He is going to have a big game. I feel that he will. Let's see how it kind of goes, but we're going to jump into it. My score prediction. Drum roll, please. I bet you can guess. Kansas taking down UNC. I've got it. I say tight one. Oh, tight on. Dang it, Nick. But yes, that's going to be a tight one, 79-72. I see, tight one, that's a 7-point game. I think it's going to be free throws at the end or something along those lines. But I wouldn't be surprised if this score is either a lot higher or a lot lower. These teams seem like they've got a lot of potential offensive prowess. They also seem like they could be in a struggle bus type of game where field goals and points are hard to come by. It's a limited currency. But I do think we take the win on the road. Chapel Hill is a tough place to play, but I don't think that Hubert Davis right now has the squad that, what he will have later on in the ACC. I think they'll really develop into their own. They'll really figure it out. But you got to have faith in Darren Peterson. When you've got Darren Peterson on your team, you easily have a chance to win. And we hope. Stay healthy. Stay away from the cramps. Do whatever you can. Please, Darren, we need you so badly for this UNC game. But Cole Rosario, secret weapon. Bryson Tiller, huge game. Flory, stay solid. And the biggest thing that really matters, stop them from scoring. Because that's what we do best. We stop people from scoring. Our defense is Bill Self strong. We need to keep them under 80 points if we're really going to, I think, have a great chance in this. So 72 points, 79 for us. That'd give us KU victory. That'd be 2-0. Let's hope that's what it's going to be tonight. Please, everyone, tune in. We got to support our guys. Everyone who's tuned into this, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. I really, anything, like, comment, subscribe, leave score predictions in the comments. Say what you think I missed. Say what you think differently. I appreciate everyone so much on this journey. Let's go Jayhawks tonight. I can't believe it. We got our first big game. Rock chalk, guys. Go Jayhawks.